Real Loud Reviews.
Welcome to Real Loud Reviews.
I'm Mark,
I'm Luke.
and we just seen The Killing Joke.
Batman the Killing Joke. Yes. I really wanted to see this movie. I'm a huge Batman animated series fan. I've seen Batman Beyond. I've seen all the little movies they did. Batman and Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero. I've been watching since 1992. It's one of the cartoons that I grew up with, was Batman the Animated Series. I knew that they were doing Killing Joke, but I didn't know that they were going to do a cinema release, and they did this worldwide one-day cinema release sort of thing. And I said to Mark, yep, we're going to that.
And surprise, surprise, we went.
Yeah, what's with that?
So I'm definitely coming at it from an outsider. I never saw much of the animated series. I was a huge fan of the '89 movie, and then I knew there was influences from that in the animated series, but I never really got into it, and I've talked to Luke about that other times. By the time that was sort of around, I mean, I appreciated the animation, but I'd already seen so many mangas and older sort of animation things that it just didn't sort of grab me at the time. And I've seen some of the other ones that they did, that the Mask of Phantasm. Yeah,
yep.
That was, I remember liking that and thought that was okay. But I much preferred even the direction that it seemed like they were going to take the business. And they did. It was the audience has gotten older, and this was for an older audience. I really liked this one.
When I was watching this one, because I watched some of the new ones like Under the Red Hood and some of the ones that came out on Blu-ray and stuff, but last few years where they had different voice actors doing Batman and stuff, those felt very different. But this one felt like I was watching Batman the Animated Series, but telling the Killing Joke story. So I'm not a big comic book fan, but I knew about this comic book because this is one of the most shocking graphic novels of all time. This was done for older audience, and that's the way they approached it. But they approached it by having Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy come back to do the voices, and they're the guys who did the original Joker and Batman in the old one since '92. So it actually had that flavour in the voice acting and the animation. The art looked like animated series.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's one of the things I appreciated the most about it. Where I've always liked. Even from Toy Story, I've always liked seeing animated films, but it was just good to see one that had taken the time to do properly for an older audience, but whether it was or not, but it looked like an old drawn sort of animated style series, something we would have watched as a kid. And it was the attention to detail with the characters and everything it felt like, it was a special treat. It's pretty rare to go see something like that. So I'm sort of watching it going, gee, wish I did more like this, but I don't see this anymore. So
and this was definitely for an older audience too. This was a lot more, obviously I'm a lot more grown up now, kind of, and but like I said, I grew up with this style of cartoon, but this one was definitely for an older audience that had some very sort of creepy, underlining criminal themes in it. Some depraved stuff, really. Like the Joker's always been insane and kind of funny, but that's what this was about. This is the one time that he went too far.
They talked about that. There was, if anyone's seen it at the cinema, you probably then saw the same extras. They had some of the extras to before the film and even some after the film to do with the music and that sort of thing. But it was very interesting to hear them talking about doing the voice, especially Mark Hamill, who sometimes I can find him really annoying to listen to him talk about anything, especially that, I don't know if you've tried to watch, really want to know what pain is, try and watch his 1 hour, if you get past 15 minutes of his 1 hour Star Wars celebration talk to the fans and hear him thank the fans 148 times in the first 10 minutes and hear him try to do stand-up. Oh man, it was annoying me even when he was actually talking about something good, but no, I actually listened to what he's saying. But yeah, he did have a lot of interesting things to say about playing the Joker, because he has suppose, played him for a long time, and I've always heard about him playing him. I've just seen the little bits and pieces. And did he ever play him in any of the video games and that?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So he talked about
I
it
thought so.
in that featurette. He mentioned that in the Arkham Asylum, but he didn't mention the other ones, which I found interesting. He did the voice for Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight.
I've played some of those games, and he is really scary in those. And this is the closest to something. It's closest to something like that. And at one point in the film, it even goes past that stuff. Again, I haven't read the original comic. I'd heard of it, and I even thought it was a different story, but I just got into what this one was. And I know the original comic was probably fairly short, and they padded it out with some stuff. It even felt a bit like that. Batgirl at the start almost feels like a separate film. And I don't know, maybe comic film people, fans are not liking it because of that, because of the, filled it up a bit. But I thought that added a real lot of weight to her. I don't think I've ever liked Batgirl in anything, and I thought she was really good in this. And
that actually confused me a bit. Like I actually, because the start of the movie is a totally separate chapter to the rest of the bulk of the film, and I think that's why I actually got. So that's where you get the drinks. I got confused with one of the characters at the start. I thought it was the same character who then becomes another character, and that was because I was following it as a story. But that first sort of chunk of the movie is not related to the main story. It's really just to set up Batgirl, like you said.
Yeah.
And it gives her character so much more weight. Otherwise, if you didn't have that, just be like, that's Batgirl.
Yeah, and when I suppose if you're watching, you might know already a bit about it. But then there's a fairly vicious attack on her from the Joker, and that is, I couldn't believe that when I seen that. I was like, whoa, that's pretty intense. It reminded me even something like from one of the Death Wish films or something. So it was well done. It was
that still gives me chills when I think about
it.
It was. We only saw it yesterday.
But if they didn't have that, she was a full-fledged character and she wanted to learn from Batman, and he, even though he had a relationship with her, but he was supposed to be like this father figure to her and protect her, but then he was, now with her like a girlfriend and boyfriend, and just become a bit of a mess, and then he thought he can't teach her anymore. That just added so much to it. When that happened, you're just like, what? Yeah.
It wasn't something they threw in for nothing, and I think a lot of people online aren't happy about the sex scene that they had.
Oh yeah, really?
Oh yeah, that's a big thing. For me, I think it was awesome that they put that in, because you just explained it. Yeah. They were now involved and they cared about each other, and it gave the characters more weight. Yeah. There was a bit more at stake now.
And their relationship had gone past now, when maybe he couldn't do how things were before. It was just going to be different.
Yeah. No, I had no problem with that scene at all in the movie. Did you?
No, I didn't have a problem with it.
You don't even see anything. It's just
it's
implied. It's still within the boundaries of animated law.
The thing that I thought was really interesting was the backstory to the Joker, but and I know it's probably all the origin in the comic is all to do with that really, but I would have to say that was, if I had to pick on something that I didn't like, that was probably something I didn't actually like. I know it's probably why the story's so famous, but actually seeing it, I always liked the mystery of the Joker, and then when you just saw it like that, and I know they did it in the 89 film and that, but that was just a 100-minute movie or whatever, and that was all in that. But in every other interpretation of the Joker, you don't always find out what it is, and this you find out, and it's like, I like his philosophy of everything, and when he talk about it, but one bad day can change us all, and that's obviously what happened to Batman, and that's what's happened to him. But I would have rather not known what his bad day was, and that could have made him scarier.
You're right. They trade in.
It humanised him a bit too much, rather than making him sort of mysterious and scary. I felt the same about like when they've done that for other remakes of other things, like when they remake Halloween, and all of a sudden everything that made him scary that you didn't know, they've put in a remake. They've given a reason for everything about why he's doing it, and he goes, well, now it makes sense. It takes away from being scary.
Yeah, you do trade it in for that. Yeah. Like you trade in what you're saying, the mysteriousness of this person. You don't know who he is, where he came from, but the trade-off is that you get a backstory. So, you're kind of right. The backstory,
Yeah.
like I love the setup of the backstory, like the Italian guys. Oh, you just got to do this job, you know. They were
Capiche.
capiche. And the movie had such a noir look every time that they had the flashback scenes, which I loved. And I loved the Italian guys and the setup. But then when it came to the actual moment of things going down, the payoff wasn't as good as we thought. The build up was good, and then it was kind of lackluster payoff.
Yeah. But the whole atmosphere, even at the start when it's sort of set in modern time. It's just Gotham's just one city that if you could get out of, you would probably just
Such a shithole.
Yeah, you would go live anywhere else.
Gotham's a shithole, man. Ra's al Ghul wanted. What did he wanted to nuke it or something? Batman Begins. He had the right idea.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed Batman: The Killing Joke. I was, like I said, it was a good, pleasant surprise to see something animated and looking like the old style, but being for more someone like, that's older. But, I found a lot of that stuff when I was, like I said, younger, a bit kiddish for me at the time, but this is sort of more on the right level. If they did more like this, I'd be there. And even if they did something like the old one, I would have enjoyed it just for it being so different. But I think Mark Hamill talked about that's why he liked going back to this too, because he thought even the animated series, he did it for so long and it was a lot of silly stuff, but he could do something a bit meatier with this one, really sink his teeth into it, and I think he did a really good job, and I really liked the whole thing. It's definitely, if you like Batman and seen anything else of all the Batmans, it's just good. Another great film with Batman and the Joker, and when they come together. I want to just talk about the end, because we were talking about that after. I had a bit of a problem with the end, actually, but it makes more sense now when we're talking about it. I know, again, that's probably going to get some hate with this because it's on what's probably in the original comic, but the end felt like it was pulled back a bit from what you really kind of suppose expected, and what you would have expected Batman to do. Like, he's done something so vicious, so horrible to someone that he was close to, and it's the daughter of, Commissioner Gordon, and in the end they're having a joke and having a laugh together. It worked. We were talking about it and the philosophy of it makes sense, but it definitely wasn't what I expected, so I suppose I like that more now thinking about it, because it wasn't what you'd expect. It didn't really...
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. At first, it kind of bothered me because I'd never seen Batman laugh. Yeah. And there's even nods to that in, like, Batman Beyond where, Terry McGinnis says Batman doesn't laugh, sort of thing. But as I thought about it, I'm like, no, Batman was trying to change in this movie, and he had to kind of not be this, not go down that path, not go down the dark side path, and beat the hell out of him.
And you could understand.
He even says it.
He'd really want to.
Yeah, Joker even says it. Is this the part where you give me my beat down? Well, come on, give it to me. But he did everything that he normally wouldn't do. Yeah. So normally he's all foreboding and scary, and this is where the one time that he laughed and they had a human moment, and that was kind of the end.
Yeah, and I was like I said at the time, it kind of jarred me a bit, but
it was a bit jarring for me too. But it settled.
When we were talking about it after, now I was like, that really worked well with the philosophy, and that's it. The film makes you think and feel differently to what you would think. I think that's a really good thing, because we'll see a lot of films where you don't think and feel differently to what you would. Most things are just what you see is what you expect, and that's what you get. But this was a couple of nice surprises. So
definitely credit to the writers.
Yeah.
Obviously the people who did the original comic and the people who worked on this animated feature. But I loved it. I would give this probably 9 out of 10. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Like, it really put me back in those days of, like, animated series, and I loved that cartoon, still do. And the voice acting by Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, Tara Strong, and all the other people in it, Ray Wise, John DiMaggio, they all did fantastic jobs in making this, like, a really polished, like, throwback to the animated series, but having that new story, that adult story that, that we love so much.
Yeah. I'd give it, 8 out of 10. And if you heard anything about it ever and you're not too sure about it, like I was, I didn't even know properly what the story was, you're in for a real treat, and especially if you obviously like Batman and the Joker. This is just another version, and something else that you can put next to the Dark Knight or the '89 Batman, another great film with Batman and Joker both together. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm glad I went and seen it.
Yeah. I'm glad you liked it, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming out real soon on Blu-ray, if not already out.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I haven't looked up the date, but I know the cover's already up there. So
and
it'll be out real soon if it's not already
you
out.
probably could have got it the day before it came out in cinemas. But R.I.P. to Kick-Ass Torrents. Probably have to get it elsewhere.
Mention the torrents.
Don't mention them. Oh, sorry.
We'll have to cut that out. No, we don't support the torrents at all. We went and saw it at the films.
No.
I think it was only a one-day thing, so I don't think you guys, when you're seeing this, will be able to see it at the cinema again. But it was so great seeing it at the cinema.
Yeah, especially
the sound, the animation. It was the first time I was like watching Batman the Animated Series on a big screen. It was like, oh yeah, it was great, fantastic. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time for another review.
See ya.